In this episode, we go to Nolan's cylinder head repair in downtown Kansas City, Missouri to get an inside look at what it takes to refurbish a set of GT40P heads for Project Low Fairmont. Welcome to the channel. My name's Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan, where I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds, a little something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And today we are at Nolan's cylinder head repair shop in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. I work not all too far around the corner from here, and I would drive by this place countless times on my way back from job sites to get back to the office. And so when it came time to think about a head swap for Project Low Fairmont, as you guys know, as you've been following me for a while, I had a pair of 3-bar cylinder heads that I later would realize I overpaid for. So I sold those, and I had stopped off at Nolan's one day to try to get a quote on machine work for those, and then that's kind of how I uncovered that was not really gonna, when I started pricing machine work in on top of what I paid for those old heads, it just wasn't gonna fit into the $4,000 budget on Project Low Fairmont. So in talking to the operator, manager here at Nolan's, he told me he had a set of GT40 heads that we later would make a deal on. After I bought the set of heads from store manager Brad, we worked out a deal where I could help show you, my subscribers, anybody watching, anybody in the Kansas City area, a great option for getting your heads resurfaced, remachined, repaired. They do it all. So I thought we would do a little inside shoot as to what it takes to refinish a set of heads.
I'm Brad Noland. I'm one of the owners of Nolan Cylinder Head Service, and my grandfather started it back in 1946 after World War II. My grandfather was doing this kind of stuff before the war, but he didn't have an actual shop. If you had a cracked flathead Ford, he'd come out, pull the head off in your driveway, use his stitching pins, stitch the crack up right in your driveway, smooth the bore down, put the head back on, and get it fix your flathead Ford right there in your driveway.
So Brad and his staff were super friendly. It was pretty evident that he still likes to run that kind of family-run business. It definitely had that atmosphere. Well, I showed up the hour before they closed to shoot this episode thinking I'm just going to stay out of their way as much as possible because there's still real work going on. That really wasn't the case. In fact, his staff was more like, no, here, come take a look at this, come watch this, and they wanted to converse with me, just talk cars, because the way they looked at it was, you know what, this is going to make the last hour of the day pass faster. So anyway, it was just fun hanging out with those guys, just real laid back. Definitely a place that, hey, if I was a machinist, I'd want to work there. But like any machine shop, they do have what they consider their bread and butter. When
we have a big month of a lot of big diesel heads, it's a good month. So
anything from, I'm sure, 18-wheelers to excavators,
big piece of equipment, yeah, anything like that. With big, those guys don't care how much. They say, how quick can I get it?
Yeah, right.
Because they're probably losing $1,000 a day not having it run.
Okay, so we talked about their bread and butter. What about the exotic stuff? What wild things have come through Brad's shop?
Oh, I just last Tuesday, my guy picked up the Ferrari F40 heads that I've had for almost a year in the shop, which would have been a fairly straightforward job, except for some machine shop had worked on these heads before me that had no business working on a Ferrari F40 heads. They did some things that really upset me. So I just spent a ton of time. They cut the valve tips down a ridiculous amount and then put these big thick shims in there. So I told the guy to do it right. I need to replace all the valves. Well, Ferrari wants over $300 a valve. So you can times that by 32 and find out that adds up real fast. So I ended up having valves custom made from Ferrari, which I had to figure out the exact length. And I need to be within about 5 thousandths right on that, or I've wasted $3,000 of our money. So it took a took a long time, and I had to set them up in this mill right here and cut a recess down so we could surface the heads without hitting the seats. There was one seat that they had put on that was gigantic that had no business being there, so I had to cut that seat out on my machine, weld the entire hole up, press a new seat in that was the right size, and then contour everything back out so it looked like nobody had ever done that. So that's one of the, I mean, I've done Ferrari V12s, we did a Lamborghini Countach V12 5000S set of heads a while back where I fixed cam journals. I used to have to fix the cam journals on this thing right here. Luckily I've got a machine right behind you right here, an actual line bore machine that I fix now. I wish I had that when I fixed some of the V12 Ferraris that were worth 375 GTB 4 cam heads. Were probably the most expensive car. We've close to the F40, but it was probably a $3 million car.
That leads us up to my heads for Project Low Fairmont, the GT40P heads, which were actually cores that somebody had just kind of abandoned at Brad's shop. So that's how I scored a good deal on those. So here is what we got to see worked on with my GT40P heads the day I visited Nolan's cylinder head repair.
First thing we do is check them for cracks, which they're core heads that I had, so I've actually done that in the past before we put them on the shelf, so I knew I had a good set of heads to sell. And I believe there was one tiny crack in them that we stitched up. Good luck figuring out where it was. We usually do it so well you can't actually figure out where we fixed it at. But so basically all we had to do was just check the guides, make sure we didn't have any worn guides, check all the valves, check the valve stems, make sure they're not worn, and then clean the heads up real good, knock the rust and any carbon out of the ports, and make them look nice. Then we set them up, cut the seats, face the valves, put new valve stem seals on them, and put them together with possibly new springs or any parts that need to be replaced, and resurface them. And that's really all they needed. They're in real good shape, and they're laid enough so they don't need hardened seats or any of the stuff that the older heads will occasionally run into and need.
What's the best way for someone to contact Nolan's cylinder head repair?
Oh, the phone is always, we're kind of old school, so just giving us a call and tell us what you got and see what we can do for you. But you can always message me on our Facebook page too. I'm pretty good about answering that. I'll get back to you within a day or two.
Well guys, thanks again for watching. It's exciting times for Project Low Fairmont. We got a good set of GT40 heads, so I'm most excited about just raising the compression on that pitiful 8-to-1 302 that I have. So it's, you know, I think I've got all of the parts I need now to make this a successful build. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't care which one you do, as long as you do one. If you want a straight 6-fan Pistons tee or 30/60s 198 tee, go check out the link to my spreadshirt below. That'll do it for this episode. Until next time, peace out.